The most interesting guests. The coolest conversations. Keep watching episodes of the Grizzly Podcast, hosted by Irvin Scott. Follow the Grizzly Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and many more apps to have our episodes delivered right to your iPhone, Android, or any other device whenever they're released. Can't get enough of the Grizzly Podcast? Stay up to date with all our latest news, events, and behind-the-scenes footage by visiting grizzlypodcast.com.
So what does it mean to be on your Grizzly? It means hard work, dedication, and it means progress beyond your Grizzly. Hard work, dedication, and progress.
I'm on my Grizzly, y'all. I'm on my Grizzly. I'm on my Grizzly, y'all. I'm on my Grizzly. I'm on my Grizzly, y'all. I'm on my Grizzly. And if you're busy making moves, say it with me. I'm on my Grizzly, y'all. I'm on my Grizzly. I'm on my Grizzly, y'all. I'm on my Grizzly. I'm on my Grizzly, y'all. I'm on my Grizzly. And if you're busy making moves, say it with me.
Coming to you from the City of Angels, this is the Grizzly Podcast, hosted by Irvin Scott.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Grizzly Podcast. This is our first episode of the year. We took a short break, but thank you so much to everybody for being so patient. The wait was worth it, as we have more episodes coming your way. We're starting off 2024 strong with a special guest. Today, I am joined by a retired professional wrestler who has won over 40 championships in his career. He is a former WWE Intercontinental Champion. He held the WWE World Tag Team title along with his tag team partner Brutus Beefcake. He's a former NWA Mid-Atlantic Heavyweight Champion and a former NWA United States Heavyweight Champion. He also held the NWA Mid-Atlantic World Tag Team title with the Nature Boy Ric Flair. He is the son of professional wrestler Johnny Valentine. He was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2004 and the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame in 2016. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest today is Greg the Hammer Valentine. Woo! Greg, we're a few months deep into 2024, but Happy New Year to you. I know you're currently at a fan convention, but thank you so much for joining us on the Grizzly Podcast today. How are things with you?
Things are great, man. Really are. Loving it. Living out here on the West Coast, living in Vegas. I'm in Ontario right now, and the fans are just fantastic, and loving life and just loving everything about life right now. Don't have to wrestle anymore. Just sign autographs and meet all my fans, and they remember the 70s, the 80s, and 90s, which I was a big part of, and love that time of my life. I love the time of my life right now, just meeting everybody that I didn't get to meet way back when.
And I'm happy to hear you say that, because the fans love you and you've accomplished so much in your career, from winning championships to becoming a Hall of Famer. Of course, success doesn't happen overnight. So for our listeners and viewers that aren't familiar with your story, take us back, man. How did you get started in wrestling?
I got started because my dad, Johnny Valentine, big famous wrestler in New York, Texas, all over Chicago. I never grew up with my dad, but he finally, when I was a teenager, he brought me to be with him in Texas. He was a Texas heavyweight champion at the time. Went on the road with him for about 6 months. and he set me up. I kept saying, I want to be a wrestler. And he said, no, I want you to go back to college. I was actually training to be a radio DJ because I love rock and roll. I love radio, the whole concept of it. But after watching him wrestle and stuff, that's all I could think about doing. And so he sent me to the coldest place other than Alaska, the coldest place in the world, Calgary, Canada. Went up there with Stu Hart and Bret Hart, Owen Hart, all those Hart families, and trained up there for 6 months, froze my ass off. Then my dad sent me to Detroit with the original Sheik. Actually lived on Sheik's farm for a while. He took great care of me, and that's basically how I got started in this great business.
Wow. The fact that you got to train with Stu Hart and the original Sheik shows that your dad really cared about you learning the business the right way from people who knew what they were doing. Greg, you mentioned that your father, Johnny Valentine, was originally against you following in his footsteps. How were you able to convince him to finally let you wrestle?
Yeah, he didn't want me to. He said, go back to Washington State, Seattle, go back there and go back to college or go pursue your radio announcing thing at the Columbia School of Broadcasting. But I finally talked him into it. I said, no, I want to do this. And it was hard, but, I come through and he helped me out. I talked to him on the phone a lot, asked him what to do, this and that. So it all worked out. It's what I wanted to do. 1974, I finally went down to Florida, hooked up with Eddie Graham and Mike Graham and all that great territory in Florida Championship Wrestling. And then my dad had a plane crash. He, with Ric Flair, his back was broken in 4 places, maybe 5. I think it was 5 places. He was crippled from the waist down. So my dad, all he could say was, I'm passing the torch to you. The next thing, I'm up in the Carolinas, and I'm tagged up with Ric Flair. Woo! And the rest is history. I mean, Ric Flair, I learned a lot from Rick. He learned stuff from me. We were the same age. And so it was just a fantastic deal.
And it certainly was a fantastic deal because you and Ric Flair both won the NWA World Tag Team titles, and you also held the NWA Mid-Atlantic Tag Team belts. Greg, you got your father's blessing to wrestle. You then learned the business by training with Stu Hart and the Sheik. You earned championship opportunities and eventually landed in WWE. What was it like working for WWE?
I mean, it was, I was WrestleMania 1, 1985 when it all started. Wrestled the late great Junkyard Dog then. WrestleMania 2, Beefcake and myself against the Bulldogs. WrestleMania 3, Beefcake and myself against the Rougeau. WrestleMania 4, I wrestled Ricky Steamboat and Macho Man Randy Savage. WrestleMania 5 was Greg Valentine and the Honky Tonk Man against Jim Neidhart, and Bret Hart. And then after that, Rhythm and Blues came along. Then I wrestled Rugged Ronnie Garvin. Oh. So, just great moments. I had a great career. I'm still having a good career because the fans are nice. They want to come up and meet me. They appreciate what I did and the effort that I put in, which was 150%.
While in WWE, you formed a tag team with Brutus Beefcake known as the Dream Team. You and Brutus both became WWE Tag Team Champions. What was it like to team up with Brutus Beefcake during that run?
Brutus was a great partner. I was the captain of the team, because I've been in the business much longer than him. But he was a good learner. He had a good look. We sold out everywhere. I mean, tag teams back then didn't sell out stadiums and auditoriums and coliseums by themselves. Tag teams didn't do that. But Beefcake and Valentine did, especially against the Bulldogs. Oh my God. Then Wyndham and Rotundo and all these different, the Russo brothers. I mean, there were some awesome tag teams, but the main ones were the British Bulldogs. We did so good against those guys. So we had a great time, me and Beefcake.
And speaking of tag teams, you mentioned that you and Ric Flair also teamed up earlier in your career. You and Ric Flair both held the NWA Mid-Atlantic Tag Team belts, and you eventually began feuding over Flair's NWA United States Heavyweight Championship. You went on to defeat Flair for that same title. Did you enjoy your time in NWA then?
Oh my God. Me and Ric Flair had the NWA World Tag Team Champions 3 different times. I also had the U.S. belt. I did a thing, I double-crossed Ric Flair, broke his nose for real with a cane. Then I took the U.S. belt off of him. We wrestled back and forth the U.S. belt. He finally became the world champion. Then I wrestled Wahoo McDaniel. Oh my God. I broke his leg. Then I went back to New York and broke Tito's leg. I was breaking legs right and left. Chief Jay Strongbow, don't forget that one. So it was all good, man. I had a storied career. Just loved it. I love talking about it.
Can you explain why you left WWE? And what was your relationship like with Vince McMahon at the time?
He was bringing in all these muscle-bound guys, like Ultimate Warrior and the Warlord, and I'm not taking away from those guys, but he was kind of switching the tide for all these muscle-bound guys. And so I just asked for my release. He didn't want to release me, but I just quit. So I went to WCW. That was okay, but not really my cup of tea. So I went independent, and I started going to Europe, started going to Japan, started doing independent shows in the United States and Canada. So it was all good. I just kept right on going. And just started doing autographs. That's when Comic Con started up. So it just keep on beating, everything just kept going. And WWF or E has been very good to me. The merchandising is always good. They're always putting good stuff out on me. And so hats off to WWE for taking good care of me all these years.
Greg, you spent some time away from WWE for a few years, but on March 13, 2004, you were inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2004 by your former manager, Jimmy Hart. What was it like to come back to WWE and get inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame?
Well, like I said, I left WWF or E or whatever you want to call it. I left them in '92, and I came back a few times for Royal Rumbles and stuff, but I was done with WWF, and I figured they were done with me. I'm out in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm at a Christian deal in Phoenix at a church out there. Ted DiBiase and myself, and I am a Christian, by the way, and I love God, love everything about Him. But anyway, I get a call on my cell phone, and it's Vince McMahon. Where? This is Vince McMahon. And he said, Greg, I'd like to have you come to New York. I want to put you in the Hall of Fame. And I go, wow, the Hall of Fame, that was awesome. So I got inducted with 9 other guys like Don Morocco, Jesse Ventura, and superstar Billy Graham, who just, by the way, just passed away. My condolences to his family. He was a great guy. Tito Santana was there. Big John Studd, Junkyard Dog, they were already passed away. But just Bobby Heenan, oh my God, that was Pete Rose. They didn't put him in the Baseball Hall of Fame, but he was in our Hall of Fame. Great guy, I love Pete Rose. He lives out in Las Vegas where I do. And I saw him a few months ago in Houston. So just a great time. So when Vince put me in the Hall of Fame at the Hilton Hotel, got up, made my speech, and the next day at Wrestlemania 20, they had us all out there to receive our rewards and everything. Yeah.
The following night at WrestleMania 20, which was held at Madison Square Garden, you got the loudest pop out of everybody when the class of 2004 was introduced that evening. Congratulations. What a huge accomplishment to have under your belt. So, Greg, this is the Grizzly Podcast, and the Grizzly Podcast is all about highlighting folks like yourself who are constantly hustling and doing their best to help motivate others along the way to stay on their grind as well. Therefore, if you could offer anybody any advice on how to continue following their dreams, what would you say to these people?
Well, now I'm a senior citizen, right? And I'm still grinding it out because I don't want to lay back and just watch it all go poof. I want to grind. All those people out there, you got to have incentive. And just like your pod says, the Grizzly Podcast, you got to grind. That's what life's about. And you got to you can't wait for people sometimes luck happens and you get a good shot at it, but you got to go out and not just wait for it to happen. You got to go help make it happen. And that's what grinding means. You got to grind it out. Don't give up. Give yourself inspiration. Maybe watch somebody else and get inspiration from them. But it's about grinding it out. And the Grizzly Podcast, that's what it's all about.
Now, Greg, for our listeners and viewers interested in keeping up with what's going on in your career, where can they find you online?
Instagram. I'm on that all the time, and I post where I'm going to be. And I'm going to post all that on the social media, Greg the Hammer Valentine Instagram.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Grizzly Podcast today. I know we've been trying to get you on the show for quite some time now, but our schedules were a bit crazy. I'm glad that we were able to finally bring you on. Any final thoughts?
I'm glad to be part of the Grizzly Podcast. It's awesome. And just keep grinding it on out. So that's the Grizzly Podcast. And just want to thank you all for tuning in. Hit us up, Grizzly Podcast.
And for our listeners and viewers in California, make sure you guys check out Comic-Con Revolution in Ontario, California on May 18th and 19th. Greg the Hammer Valentine will be there to sign autographs and take pictures with his fans. So before we wrap things up here, I'll leave you with this one last thing. Greg, stay on your Grizzly.
All right, I will, man. I'm on my Grizzly. I'm going to grind it, baby.
Get it, pop. Let's get it.
Yo, that's what I'm talking about.
Don't miss a thing. Subscribe to the Grizzly Podcast YouTube channel to access full episodes, video clips, and more on YouTube. The most authentic podcast is online at grizzlypodcast.com and on all major podcast platforms. guest appearances, and real conversations that will push you to hustle. The Grizzly Podcast is now streaming.
Hi, and welcome to Trademark Expediters. Whether you need a trademark or copyright, we can help make the process easy and affordable. Protect your company name, logo, or slogan with the trademark. Protect your songs, books, photographs, and other creative works with a copyright. Complete our easy online questionnaire in 15 minutes or less. Clear pricing, no hidden fees. 100% satisfaction guaranteed. Get started today. Learn more at trademarkexpediters.com or call one of our friendly specialists at 1-800-510-1082. Affordable, easy, expedited service. Trademark Expediters.
We've shared success stories from people of all backgrounds and inspired others to pursue their dreams. Relive those moments and stream episodes of the Grizzly Podcast on our website, grizzlypodcast.com, and on all major podcast platforms.
Yo, turn it up.
Hard work, dedication, and progress. Stay on your Grizzly.
Yeah.
Thanks for checking out another Grizzly Podcast episode. We'll see you next time.